What's going on, Shield Brothers and Shield Maidens? This is True for Shield's Rest, and today I want to talk about transformations within Daggerheart. So let's get into it. Now, this rules breakdown is primarily geared towards people trying to play as Druids within Daggerheart. It's also geared towards the GMs that want to bring in something a little bit extra special into their games that's not necessarily just beast form. That's why I want to do this rules breakdown today. So let's get into how you actually beast form first off, get into what that looks like when you do, and then we'll start talking about what there is out there for GMs and what's possible. All right, so let's look at the Druid Class feature, beast form. Mark a stress to transform into a magical creature of your level or lower. What it actually means is your tier or lower from the beast form list. While transformed, you can't use your weapons or cast any spells, but you gain the features, attack trait, and evasion bonus of the creature. You can drop out of this form at any time. When in beast form, your armor becomes part of your body and you mark armor slots as usual. When you drop out of beast form, those marked armor slots remained marked. If you mark your last hit point or stress, this form automatically drops. Okay, those are our baseline rules for transformations. What we want to look at now is what are the things that you as a druid can actually transform into. Because the way they do the transformations is actually rather elegant, and if you're not really fully understanding what they mean by this, you might miss how cool this actually is. So let's say you're a level 1 druid. Everything that you have at your disposal as far as beast form is concerned is going to be in the tier 1 list, okay? And the way this works is it's not that you're transforming into one particular beast or another based off of its stat block. This isn't D&D. What is actually happening and why I like this so much is primarily because it gives you ideas for what you could transform into, but what it does is it gives you a summary title for what it is you're doing. So if you're going to be an agile scout, you could be a fox, you could be a mouse, you could be a weasel. It doesn't matter what you choose, but it's going to be considered an agile scout in that aspect. Or if you want to be, let's say, a pack predator, you could be a coyote, you could be a hyena, or you could be a wolf. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter what you're choosing. As long as it makes sense to be a pack predator, you can do that. It's not trying to hinder you in any way, shape, or form based off of each individual stat block. It just gives you a summary, generalized, here you go kind of situation, and I love that. All right, so let's start with the pack predator. So the first assumption we need to make is that you have a 0 in strength and that your evasion is the baseline evasion of just 8. Okay? We're going to start with those assumptions and you'll see why here in a second. So the pack predator gets +2 strength, a melee strength attack, which could be your fangs, it could be your claws, whatever, of a d8 +2 physical damage, and then it's going to give you an evasion +1. What does that mean exactly? It's not that you have a +1 just evasion. It means you now have a 9 evasion because you had an 8. This gives you +1 to that 8. You now have a 9 for your evasion. There you go. That's what that's doing. Your 0 strength now goes to being +2. However, if you had a -1 to strength, you would now have a +1 to strength. So it's increasing your current stats as a druid, who you are as a person right now. So you don't have to worry about going based off of each individual animal's stat blocks. You also will gain advantage on attacks, sprinting, and tracking. That's just what the pack predator gives you. Each one gives you something different for what you can take advantage on, which is pretty cool, I think. You also get pack hunting and hobbling strike. Just a few extra features that should play into the kind of playstyle you should have as a pack predator. So that's just tier 1 though. That's just tier 1, what you get to be able to do. It's pretty cool, and you still get your domain cards, and you still get to do everything else. It's just you get to add this on top. So I think that's pretty awesome. Now, I also like that you can transform however many times as long as you have the stress to do so. As long as you got stress to transform, you can be going in and out no problem. It can start looking like the Dungeons and Dragons movie where old girl fucking, transforms like 6 times. It's like 6 or 7 times that she transforms into stuff. When D&D rules say you can't do that. Daggerheart rules say you can. So I like that a lot because, let's face it, as a druid, you should be able to. All right, so let's look at the pouncing predator. This is going to give you a +1 to your instinct as well as a d8 +6 instinct melee attack, as well as evasion of +3. So you're already starting to get some good increases, and then you get to take advantage on attacking again, but climbing and now sneak. You also get 2 good features of fleet and takedown, which really do play into what a pouncing predator should be, which could be a cheetah, a lion, a panther, something to that effect. So again, choose what you want. As long as it fits the description of a pouncing predator, I think you're fine. Now let's look at one of the cool tier 3 transformations. This is going to be a legendary beast. Now this could be basically an upgraded tier 1 option. And so what you're looking at is basically you're going to pick that tier 1 beast form option, and then it's just something that you can think of as being larger or more powerful in some way. It's going to retain all of the traits that it has initially, as well as the features, except you're going to add +6 to your damage rolls in this form, as well as a +1 trait increase that this form already gives you. So that pack predator is now going to give you a +3 to your strength rather than a +2. You also get to add +6 to those damage rolls, and then you get to increase the evasion by +2. So now your evasion becomes a +3 in that particular form if we're still thinking pack predator. Now for the last one that I want to look at, this is all to kind of give you an idea of what you can do and what it looks like and how these rules kind of work. The last one I want to look at is Tier 4 Mythic Beast. So the Mythic Beast allows you to take either a Tier 1 or a Tier 2 option. And again, it's larger, it's more powerful, that sort of situation. And it retains all of its traits and features except for increasing your damage die by 1 size. So a D6 becomes a D8, a D8 becomes a D10, and so on. You get to add +9 to your damage rolls in this form. You get to add +2 to the trait that this form gives you. And you get to increase the evasion bonus by +3. That form would give you otherwise. So that pack predator would now give you a +4 to your evasion rather than the +1 that it would otherwise have. So if you're not seeing it already, I think this is actually an amazing way to do transformations in general. All right, so this is for the GMs that stuck around to the end. If you want to bring transformations into your game, which I think you absolutely should, Ghostfire Gaming did that with the Grim Hollow series for D&D, and they brought some great rules and some great transformation ideas that really and truly kind of percolated my mind as far as what I could do for Daggerheart, because the transformations within Daggerheart are fantastic. Even though it's restricted to just the Druid, I think we've got a lot here to work with, and I want to see it expand to other things other than beast form. Let's get into lycanthrope. Let's get into vampirism. Let's get into becoming a primordial. Let's do some elemental shit over here. Let's have some fun with this. Or let's do some things that are detrimental to the players. And you can do it just like the Druid transformations. You can give them subtractions to a particular trait as the disease progresses, or you can give them pluses to when they transform into said werewolf or into a vampire, and what are they increasing. And I even think you could almost overhaul their entire stat block to some degree by giving them certain minuses and certain pluses for whatever it is that they are transforming into. Because just because you turn into a werewolf doesn't mean your strength just increases. Everything increases or goes down in some way, shape, or form. Go ahead and make that match. You know what I mean? Give them some features that allow them to do more in that form. And also take away a lot of some of their options. Being able to cast spells, being able to use their weapons, whatever. You can do a lot of that. Or, like vampires, they just don't let them in sunlight. You know what I mean? So you can do a lot of that within your Daggerheart games, and you can take it from being silly and fun to being dark and horrifying. No problem. And you can use the Ghostfire Gaming rules if you really want to and just convert it over to Daggerheart, or you can stick with me here on the channel because I'm going to be doing all those transformations. I'm going to be pulling over from World of Darkness, from Ghostfire Gaming, and I'm going to bring them all into Daggerheart. So you can utilize that at any point in time. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that button as well as the bell notification so you don't miss a single one of those videos. Because when this comes out, you're going to want to have this in your game. Trust me. When I have these rules ready to go, I'm going to be giving you every single rule in the book for this. So that way you have everything you need to run a full-on werewolf game if you wanted to. Or vampires, or primordials. Whatever your flavor is, you will be able to do it no problem. I will have every single rule under the sun for you. So stick with us, because we are going to do it all. So until the next one, y'all, keep that shield wall strong.